comms up. Get your comms up. The Panther Comms Podcast with Timmy V.O.
What's going on, Panthers fans? It's week 17. I'm David Walters, and this is your Panthers perspective. Well, here we are. Who would have thought when we were 1-4, 1-5? Who would have thought with 2 weeks left in the season that we would be in position to control our own destiny to make it to the playoffs? All we have to do is win on Sunday, and then all we have to do is win next Sunday. And I know that sounds like a tall order for a team that started off as bad as we did, but hey, I think it's possible. We're playing some pretty good football at the right time, and it seems like, we bang that door down and we can get that running game going. It's hard for any team to be able to stop us. Now, Sam Darnold's played some very efficient football. There's stats I saw today that said he was the most efficient quarterback over the last 4 weeks. He's 3-1 as a starter. Bearded Darnold has just taken us to places that we didn't think we'd be able to go, right? Granted, it's not all on him. He has the benefit of a strong running game, a good defense, and time behind that offensive line. And that says a lot. The offensive line figures into the equation a whole lot. But we all kind of wanted to see what Sam Darnold will be able to do with time. We saw last year at the beginning of the year, when he had enough time and wasn't rushed to make a decision, he can make good, efficient plays. But when you rushed him, he made some pretty bad mistakes. This year, he's had the benefit of playing behind a strong offensive line. And when he has been rushed, he's made the right choices. So I don't know if it's the beard. I don't know if it's the time being able to step back and watch what's going on in the game and try to process it, try to grow mentally while he was on the sidelines with that injury this year. But he has a cool, calm, steady approach playing game manager, and I mean, if everything else is clicking, if your special teams, your defense, your offensive line, your running game, if everything else is clicking, all you got to do is not mess up. And Sam Darnold has done a great job of that. Look, we started the year off 1-5. We've been through 3 quarterbacks. We fired our coach. We brought in an interim coach. It was said that the interim coach would have to do, I think Tepper said, an exceptional job to be able to get the head coaching gig, right? I'd say this is bordering on exceptional what he's been able to do, turn around. What we had in the beginning of this year is not what we're working with now. It's the same players, but it's not the same team. We went the whole rule era, we weren't able to establish an identity. He talked a lot about we were going to be a running team or we were going to be a passing team. But Wilks didn't even have to say anything. The identity, boom, is established. He remembers the identity that we had in years past that worked for us. And it's working for us again. He's got those players bought in. And I know I've been banging the drum for him a lot. But I don't even have to bang the drum for him anymore. The players are banging the drum. Trey Boston in the game, towards the end, they asked him to say something. He says, hire Steve Wilks, keep pounding, All the players, Derek Brown, all the players seem to be on board with that. So like I cautioned earlier in the year, I feel like Tepper should explore his options. I mean, the first hire went so bad. I don't blame him. I mean, this is a big hire for him, I'm not quite sure how the Rooney Rule works. From what I've heard, they may still have to interview some other minority candidates and all that, instead of just being able to move him up from within. I'm not certain on that. In the end, the players are bought in. It just feels good, right? I mean, it feels like Panther football, what we have going on right now. I don't even know if anything that would happen in the next 2 games would take me off of the Steve Wilks bus right now. But, that's a lot of stuff that we could talk about moving in towards the offseason and all that, and that could be a lot more results-based. And so I guess we'll revisit it. Right now, I feel like this is just the defense, the running, the all business approach, that the players say that he's a player's coach, but he's not afraid to call you out when you come in on Monday. He'll tell you what you did wrong. He's not going to coddle you, but he just seems to have a really good rapport with the players. Now, let's get to the game at hand. When Tampa Bay came up earlier in the season, it was kind of towards the beginning of Steve Wilks taking over. We had a really good game. We were able to run the ball downhill at them, and they were just never able to really get anything going. The BUCS weren't. The story of their season has been inconsistent offensive line play, age, injuries. It's been a tough season for Tampa Bay, but they still got the GOAT. There are a couple games that I remember watching this year so far. Where the BUCS would be down. I think one time they were down like 15 or 16. They're down 2 scores, and not much time left, but like you could just feel it. You could just feel it. You saw that scowl on Tom Brady's face, and just you knew something was about to happen. It's not surprising that they're able to come back. We're going to have to fight this game from start to finish. We're going to have to play a full game. We can't let up at the end. We can't give Tom Brady a cushion because he'll make that work for him. And they have healthy receivers this time around. And while I think we played the last game against Tampa Bay without J.C. Horn, and we were still able to play okay. Now J.C. Horn is out again. Dante Jackson's out again, and we've re-signed Josh Norman, who I'm on board with that, man. I love the guy. I think experience goes a long way when youth and athleticism start to fail you, right? If he can see what's about to happen, if he can play the mental game with them, I think that'd be big. But I don't even think he's coming in as the starter. As far as I know, C.J. Henderson and Keith Taylor are still going to be the starters. And everybody's been going really hard at Keith Taylor. He had a horrible game a few games ago, and you could tell he was in his head. Every time he got burned, you could see how upset he was with himself, right? So everybody's been banging pretty hard on Keith Taylor. Anything's better than Keith Taylor. But I noticed the 4-man rush put up a graphic that showed his performances through all the games, and he's actually been pretty solid, and he was a really nice surprise for us last year when he played. So you can bang on the kid, but I still think he's a pretty solid option at quarterback. I still think he can make plays. So we got Taylor, we got Henderson, we got J-No back there. Hopefully we can handle their wide receivers. They've got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Julio Jones even catching passes still. What's going to be important is we're going to have to get the rush in on them. We're going to have to bust through that offensive line, and God help us if they're able to get any kind of running game going, because that just hasn't been their thing. They have a rookie running back that's kind of plays well out of the backfield, especially on the pass, I think, but they just haven't really been able to get anything going in the running game. And so if they're running over 100 yards, I would say our team might be in trouble. But hopefully that won't happen. Now, hopefully we're able to run on them like we were able to last game. I imagine we're going to start pounding away at them. Vea, their defensive lineman, I think is missing this game, and he is a monster. That kind of opens up a little bit in the middle. Our offensive line has been so strong, I'd put them up against anybody right now. I mean, they're playing as a good cohesive unit. They're opening up holes, and man, our running backs are just hitting them. Great. We got 3 really good running backs. And I think we had McCaffrey on the roster as well, it's a breath of fresh air. Some teams start off a year and it goes bad immediately, and they have to ride that entire season out the whole way. Our story isn't that unique, but it's been a real roller coaster of a season, I mean, who would have thought all the way back at 1-5, we shouldn't be here. And granted, it's a circumstance of a bad NFC South that hopefully we can take control of, but we shouldn't be here. So I feel like, that's the exceptional job that Steve Wilks has done. That's big time. It's big time. And it says a lot about the importance of coaching and how, it's the same team. It's the same team. I think the offensive play calling has been pretty good too. But coming in, you knew that McAdoo, he likes to run the ball. I don't know if he was handcuffed by rule. And I'm not ready to pump him up too much yet, but the play call has been strong. And I mean, he hasn't deviated from the game plan. Once he sees that run's working, he's going right at it. And then a couple of those plays he ran, particularly last week, you could tell he's using plays to kind of bait the defense in. The way they were running the ball one direction, and you're like, they're going to go that direction. And then Sam Darnold runs the other way. You see that long pass right down the middle to DJ Moore. They were working the seams the whole time. And everybody that was with me was like, he's wide open. Leviska was wide open in the seam right there. And hopefully I'll be here next week, and I'll be talking about all we got to do is win one more game, and we're going to the playoffs. I've been dying to buy a home playoff ticket with my PSLs. So my fingers are crossed. I know you all are going to tune in 1 o'clock Sunday, games in Tampa. You know, get behind them. And until next week, Panthers fans, keep on pounding.
Get your comms up. The Panther Comms Podcast with Timmy VO.